Hello, my name is Lauren Wright, and the title of my study is Abstinence-Only Sex Education and Mental Health. Abstinence-only sex education curricula focus on remaining abstinent until marriage as the sole means of avoiding pregnancy and STD or STIs. Information is oftentimes misleading. This in turn has caused higher rates of teenage pregnancy and HIV infections. Research has repeatedly shown that abstinence-only sex education is ineffective, and that it has several negative consequences. These negative impacts are on prevention methods, health risk behaviors, relationships, and sexual identity. One study found a 10% increase in STIs among sexually active teens after AOE programs were implemented in the school. Abstinence-only sex education has also been shown to promote shame and naivety in regards to sex and intimacy, and this has led to an increase in sexual violence and dating violence among youth. The LGBTQ+ community spoke about being excluded from AOE programs that were taught in school. This leads to numerous ramifications among the LGBTQ+ community, more specifically having a negative impact on interpersonal relationships. Even though a lot of negative consequences have been identified for AOE, very little is known about its mental health consequences. Based on this gap in the literature, my research question is, what are the mental health consequences of abstinence-only sex education? With this cross-sectional study, 805 individuals were surveyed. Data was collected by means of a self-administered 7-question survey. Descriptive statistics were used to determine the consequences that abstinence-only sex education has on mental health. The findings from these analyses are depicted in the bar chart. The findings suggest that mental health is a significant problem amongst individuals who are taught abstinence-only sex education. As you can see from the bar chart, 55% of participants reported ever receiving abstinence-only sex education, and 19% of those individuals reported experiencing triggering and unwanted emotions. 28% stated that it hindered their ability to form healthy relationships, 27% reported feelings of sadness, 43% said that AOE made them feel anxious, 40% said it made them feel dirty, and another 40% reported that abstinence-only sex education made them feel like a bad person. As you can see from the qualitative findings, abstinence-only sex education has had a tremendous negative impact on the mental health of those who have been sexually assaulted and/or abused. For example, one participant said, "I was sexually assaulted, so I always felt like the chewed up piece of gum, or dirty sneakers, or tape that is no longer sticky." Another participant shared, "As a victim of child sex abuse, AOE was incredibly triggering and upsetting to hear that I had given myself away and that I was impure, despite none of that being my own choice." The quantitative and qualitative findings in this study suggest that abstinence-only sex education is not just ineffective, it is harmful. These findings have several implications for practice, policy, and research. In terms of practice, there need to be more inclusive sex education programs in schools. The curricula should place more focus on consent, healthy relationships, and healthy sexuality. Parents and students both need to be informed about the risks and dangers of abstinence-only sex education. From a policy perspective, accurate information is needed in schools. Therefore, the Department of Education needs to require the implementation of evidence-based, comprehensive sex education curricula. Finally, more research is needed to examine the mental health consequences of abstinence-only sex education. This study certainly highlighted that mental health is impacted by abstinence-only sex education, particularly among individuals who have experienced sexual abuse and assault, and that proactive measures may be needed to address this problem in our schools. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I welcome any questions or comments that you may have.